Thank you for visiting my channel. Before we start, please hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons to receive notification of future presentations. Our topic for today is agency under Articles 1868 to 1932 of the New Civil Code. Definition: by the contract of agency, a person binds himself to render some service or to do something in representation or on behalf of another with the consent or authority of the latter. As a relation, agency is fiduciary, meaning based on trust and confidence, which implies a power in an agent to contract with a third person on behalf of a principal. The basis of agency is representation. In an agent-principal relationship, the personality of the principal is extended through the facility of the agent. In so doing, the agent, by legal fiction, becomes the principal, authorized to perform all acts which the latter would have him do. Such a relationship can only be effected with the consent of the principal, which must not in any way be compelled by law or by any court. Characteristics: the contract of agency is consensual, nominate, preparatory, principal, and bilateral or unilateral. Consensual because it is perfected by mere consent. Nominate because it has its own name. Preparatory because it is entered into as a means to enter into other contracts. Principal because it does not depend on another contract for its existence and validity, and bilateral if for compensation, giving rise to reciprocal rights and obligations, but unilateral if gratuitous, creating obligations only for the agent. Constitution of agency, essential elements. 1. There is consent, express or implied, of the parties to establish the relationship. 2. The object is the execution of a juridical act in relation to third persons. 3. The agent acts as a representative and not for himself. And 4. The agent acts within the scope of his authority. Parties. The parties to a contract of agency are the principal and the agent. The principal is one whom the agent represents and from whom he derives his authority, and the agent is one who acts for and represents the principal, having derivative authority in carrying out the business of the latter. Juridical persons such as corporations and partnerships can be principals and agents. Capacity of parties. 1. A principal must have legal capacity to enter into a contract in his own right. And 2. An agent must have legal capacity to enter into the contract of agency, although he may not have capacity to enter into the particular contract subject of agency. Intention of parties. On the part of the principal, there must be an actual intention to appoint or an intention naturally inferable from his words or actions, and on the part of the agent, there must be an intention to accept the appointment and act on it. General rule: in the absence of such intent, there is generally no agency. Exceptions: 1. Agency by estoppel and agency by operation of law. Consent of parties. An agency is either express or implied. This is true on the part of the principal as well as on the part of the agent. It does not require express appointment and acceptance. As to the principal, the appointment of an agent may be express or implied from his acts, from his silence or lack of action, or from his failure to repudiate the agency, knowing that another person is acting on his behalf without authority. The appointment may be oral unless the law requires a specific form. As to the agent, acceptance may also be expressed or implied: 1. From his acts which carry out the agency. 2. From his silence or inaction according to the circumstances. 3. Both the principal and the agent being present if a. The principal delivers his power of attorney to the agent, and b. The agent receives it without any objection. And 4. Both the principal and the agent being absent when A. The principal transmits his power of attorney to the agent who receives it without any objection. Or B. When the principal entrusts to him by letter or telegram a power of attorney with respect to the business in which he is habitually engaged as an agent, and he did not reply to the letter or telegram. In other cases between persons who are absent, acceptance cannot be implied from the silence of the agent. Power of attorney. A power of attorney is an instrument in writing by which one person as principal appoints another as his agent and confers upon him the authority to perform certain specified acts or kinds of acts on his behalf. The written authorization itself is the power of attorney. It has also been called a letter of attorney. Its primary purpose is not to define the authority of the agent, but to evidence the authority of the agent to third parties with whom the agent deals. The person holding the power of attorney is designated as an attorney in fact. Form of contract. General rule: there are no formal requirements governing the appointment of an agent. Exceptions: 1. When the law requires a specific form. 2. When the sale of a piece of land or any interest therein is through an agent, in which case the authority shall be in writing, otherwise the sale is void. And 3. When the law requires a special power of attorney. Designation by the parties. The manner in which the parties designate the relationship is not controlling. The use of this term agent in one clause of the contract cannot dominate the real nature of the agreement as revealed in other clauses, no less than in the caption, like agency agreement, of the agreement itself. Acts delegated. General rule: what a person may do in person, he may do through another. Exceptions: 1. Personal acts, which the law or public policy requires to be performed personally, like the right to vote, to make a will, to make a statement under oath, or attend board meetings as director or trustee of a corporation. 2. Criminal acts. And 3. Acts not allowed by law to be done by the principal. Presumption of existence. General rule: agency must exist as a fact. The law makes no presumption thereof. The person alleging it has the burden of proof to show not only the fact of its existence, but also its nature and extent. Exceptions: a presumption of agency may arise: 1. Where an agency may arise by operation of law and to prevent unjust enrichment. Communication of existence of agency. There are two ways of giving notice of agency that a person has given a power of attorney to a third person with different effects. First, if a person specially informs another, like by letter, the person appointed as agent is considered such with respect to the person specially informed. And second, if a person states by public advertisement, the person appointed as agent is considered such with regard to any person. In either case, the power of agent continues in full force until notice is rescinded in the same manner in which it was given. Duty of third person. The person dealing with the agent must act with ordinary prudence and reasonable diligence. Obviously, if he knows or has good reason to believe that the agent is exceeding his authority, he cannot claim protection. Effect of extension of personality. In an agent-principal relationship, the personality of the principal is extended through the facility of the agent. In so doing, the agent, by legal fiction, becomes the principal, authorized to perform all acts which the latter would have him do. Theory of imputed knowledge. An important implication of this extension of personality is the general rule that knowledge of the agent is imputed to the principal, even though the agent never communicated such knowledge to the principal. Requisites: 1. Actual notice to the agent. 2. Notice must pertain to a matter of fact and not of law. And 3. The fact must be within the scope of the agent's authority. Thus, it is only logical that the agent is required to notify the principal of all matters that came to his attention that are material to the subject matter of the agency. Exceptions: 1. Where the agent's interests are adverse to those of the principal. 2. where the agent's duty is not to disclose the information, and 3, where the person claiming the benefit of the rule colludes with the agent to defraud the principal. Kinds of agency. Kinds of agency in general as to manner of its creation. 1. Express. 2. Implied. As to cause or consideration. 1. Gratuitous, or 2. Compensated or onerous. Agency is presumed to be for compensation unless there is proof to the contrary. As to extent of business covered, universal, general, or special. As to authority conferred, couched in general terms or couched in specific terms. As to its nature and effects, ostensible or representative, where the agent acts in the name and representation of the principal, or simple or commission, where the agent acts in his own name but for the account of the principal. As to kinds of principal, we have disclosed principal, partially disclosed principal, and undisclosed principal. First, with a disclosed principal, where at the time the transaction was contracted by the agent, the other party thereto has known A. that the agent is acting for a principal, and B. the principal's identity. Second, partially disclosed principal, where the other party knows or has reason to know that the agent is or may be acting for a principal but is unaware of the principal's identity. Or third, undisclosed principal, where the other party has no notice of the fact that the agent is acting as such for a principal. As to its nature and effects, we have two types, the ostensible or representative and the simple or commission. Ostensible or representative, where the agent acts in the name and representation of the principal, and simple or commission, where the agent acts in his own name but for the account of the principal. Kinds of agency as to manner of creation, we have two types, the express agency and the implied agency. Express agency is one where the agent has been actually authorized by the principal either orally or in writing. On the other hand, implied agency is created in the following manner: as to the appointment of the agent by the principal, from his acts, from his silence or lack of action, or from his failure to repudiate the agency, knowing that another person is acting on his behalf without authority, and as to the acceptance of the agency by the agent, from his acts which carry out the agency, and from his silence or inaction according to the circumstances. Kinds of agency as to extent of business covered. We have three types: universal agency, general agency, and special agency. Universal agency comprises all acts which the principal can lawfully delegate to an agent. General agency comprises all the business of the principal, and special agency comprises one or more specific transactions. Kinds of agency as to authority conferred. We have two types, the agency couched in general terms and the agency couched in specific terms. An agency couched in general terms is one created in general terms and is deemed to comprise only acts of administration, even if 1. The principal should state that he withholds no power, 2. He should state that the agent may execute such acts as he may consider appropriate, or 3. Even though the agency should authorize a general and unlimited management. Meanwhile, an agency couched in specific terms authorizes only the performance of specific acts. Certain specific acts, however, require special powers of attorney. A special power of attorney is an instrument in writing by which one person as principal appoints another as his agent and confers upon him the authority to perform certain specified acts or kinds of acts on behalf of the principal. Special kinds of agency. First in the list is agency by estoppel. Through estoppel, an admission or representation is rendered conclusive upon the person making it and cannot be denied or disproved as against the person relying thereon. For an agency by estoppel to exist, the following must be established. 1. The principal manifested a representation of the agent's authority or knowingly allowed the agent to assume such authority. 2. The third person in good faith relied upon such representation. And 3. Relying upon such representation, such third person has changed his position to his detriment. An agency by estoppel, which is similar to the doctrine of apparent authority, requires proof of reliance upon the representations, and that in turn needs proof that the representations predated the action taken in reliance. One who clothes another with apparent authority as his agent and holds him out to the public as such cannot be permitted to deny the authority of such person to act as his agent to the prejudice of innocent third parties dealing with such person in good faith. Note that Article 1911 states that even when the agent has exceeded his authority, the principal is solidarily liable with the agent if the former allowed the latter to act as though he had full powers. In this case, there is duly formed agency, and estoppel only applies to the excess of authority. This is an application of the doctrine of apparent authority. Under the doctrine of apparent authority, the question in every case is whether the principal has, by his voluntary act, placed the agent in such a situation that a person of ordinary prudence, conversant with business usages and the nature of the particular business, is justified in presuming that such agent has authority to perform the particular act in question. In agency by estoppel, there is no agency. The alleged agent seemed to have apparent or ostensible authority, but not real authority to represent another. Another kind of special agency is agency with undisclosed principal. As a general rule, if an agent acts in his own name, the principal is undisclosed, the agent is the one directly bound in favor of the person with whom he has contracted, as if the transaction were his own. Ratio. There is no representation of the principal when the agent acts in his own name. The third person cannot allege that he was misled by any representation since he did not know of the existence of the undisclosed principal. Exception. The principal is bound when the contract involves things belonging to him. In this case, the contract is considered as one between the principal and the third person. Qualification. The exception only applies if the agent contracts with the properties of the principal within the scope of his authority. Another special kind of agency is agency by operation of law. An agency may exist by operation of law, such as in the following cases. 1. Every partner is an agent of the partnership for the purpose of its business. 2. When the principal's action would reasonably lead a third person to conclude that an agency exists, an agency by estoppel is created by operation of law. And 3. In case of certain necessity or emergency, an agency by necessity may arise. Another type of special agency is irrevocable agency. Article 1927 on agency coupled with an interest mentions three instances where the sole will of the principal cannot terminate or revoke an agency. 1. Where a bilateral contract depends upon it. 2. If it is the means of fulfilling an obligation already contracted. Or 3. Where a partner is appointed manager of a partnership in the contract of partnership and his removal from the management is unjustifiable. Qualifications. 1. Coupled with the interest or not, the authority certainly can be revoked for a just cause, such as when the attorney in fact betrays the interests of the principal. It is not open to serious doubt that the irrevocability of the power of attorney may not be used to shield the perpetration of acts in bad faith, breach of confidence, or betrayal of trust by the agent, for that would amount to holding that a power coupled with an interest authorizes the agent to commit frauds against the principal. 2. A mere statement in the power of attorney that it is coupled with an interest is not enough. In what does such interest consist must be stated in the power of attorney. And 3. An agency coupled with an interest cannot affect third persons. They are obligatory only on the principal who executed the agency. Kinds of agents as to nature and extent of authority. According to the nature and extent of their authority, agents have been classified into universal agents, general agents, and special agents. Universal agents are authorized to do all acts for his principal which can lawfully be delegated to an agent. So far as such a condition is possible, such an agent may be said to have universal authority. General agents are authorized to do all acts pertaining to a business of a certain kind or at a particular place, or all acts pertaining to a business of a particular class or series. He has usually authority either expressly conferred in general terms or in effect made general by the usages, customs, or nature of the business which he is authorized to transact. An agent, therefore, who is empowered to transact all the business of his principal of a particular kind or in a particular place, would for this reason be ordinarily deemed a general agent. Meanwhile, special agents are authorized to do some particular act or to act upon some particular occasion. For example, acts usually in accordance with specific instructions or under limitations necessarily implied from the nature of the act to be done. The following are special types of agents. Attorney at law is one whose business is to represent clients in legal proceedings. Auctioneer is one whose business is to sell property for others to the highest bidder at a public sale. Broker is one whose business is to act as intermediary between two other parties, such as insurance broker and real estate broker. Factor or commission merchant is one whose business is to receive and sell goods for a commission, being entrusted with the possession of the goods involved in the transaction. Cashier in bank is one whose business is to represent a banking institution in its financial transactions. And attorney in fact is one who is given authority by his principal to do a particular act not of legal character. In this strict legal sense, it means an agent having a special authority. Attorneys have authority to bind their clients in any case by any agreement in relation thereto made in writing, and in taking appeals, and in all matters of ordinary judicial procedure. But they cannot without special authority compromise their client's litigation or receive anything in discharge of a client's claim but the full amount in cash. Authority of an agent. Authority is the power of the agent to affect the legal relations of his principal by acts done in accordance with the principal's manifestations of consent. An agent can make the principal legally responsible only when he is authorized by the principal to act the way he did. Kinds of authority. We have actual, express, implied, apparent or ostensible, general, special, and by necessity or by operation of law. Actual, when it is actually granted, and it may be express or implied. It is the authority that the agent does, in fact, have. It results from what the principal indicates to the agent. Express when it is directly conferred by words. Implied when it is incidental to the transaction or reasonably necessary to accomplish the main purpose of the agency. Apparent or ostensible when it arises by the acts or conduct of the principal, giving rise to an appearance of authority. It makes the principal responsible to third persons for certain actions of the agent that were not really authorized. General when it refers to all the business of the principal. Special when it is limited only to one or more specific transactions, and by necessity or by operation of law when it is demanded by necessity or by virtue of the existence of an emergency. The agency terminates when the emergency passes. Scope of authority. General rule. The scope of the authority of the agent is what appears in the terms of the power of attorney. Exceptions. An agent is considered acting within the scope of his authority when: Number 1, he performs acts which are conducive to the accomplishment of the purpose of the agency. 2. He performed the agency in a manner more advantageous to the principal than that specified by said principal. And 3. The principal ratifies the act expressly or tacitly. So far as third persons are concerned, an act is deemed to have been performed within the scope of the agent's authority if such act is within the terms of the power of attorney as written, even if the agent has in fact exceeded the limits of his authority according to an understanding between the principal and the agent. While third persons are bound to inquire into the extent or scope of the agent's authority, they are not required to go beyond the terms of the written power of attorney. Third persons cannot be adversely affected by an understanding between the principal and his agent as to the limits of the latter's authority. In the same way, third persons need not concern themselves with instructions given by the principal to his agent outside of the written power of attorney. Power to bind the principal. Requisites. 1. The agent must act within the scope of his authority. And 2. The agent must act in behalf of the principal. Even when the agent acts in his own name, however, the principal is still bound when the contract involves things belonging to the principal or when the principal ratifies the contract expressly or tacitly. Effects of acts of an agent. In summary, when the agent acts 1. With authority of the principal, a. If done in the name of the principal is bound to comply with the obligations contracted, and the agent is not personally liable to the party with whom he contracts. And b. If done in the name of the agent is the one directly bound in favor of the person with whom he has contracted, except when the contract involves things belonging to the principal. 2. Without authority or beyond the authority granted by the principal. A. If done in the name of the principal, it is unenforceable against him unless he ratifies it expressly or tacitly. And B. If done in the name of the agent, he is personally liable. Thank you. If you find this presentation helpful, please subscribe to receive notification of future lectures.